Right, good morning. I think fantastic stories and challenges since morning here. But I represent Volvo Cars, and yes, of course, we are a cool brand. But more importantly, instead of selling cars, we're more about saving lives. And I'm going to try and break one house rule, Sindhu, if you may. I want everybody to switch on their cell phones and to capture what's being said here, because this is more about road safety and the challenges that we face here. Um, basically, the challenge is within us. I have a PowerPoint, but I hope to have powerful points apart from the PowerPoint. And when I say 150,000, we all think about someone's salary, an air ticket to Paris, Goa ka holiday, that budget. But none of us think that that's the lives, that's the fatalities that Indian roads spring up every year. We are very rogue in that manner. We count for about 12%. Can everybody see this screen? Okay. We account for about 12% of fatalities. There are more than 500,000 accidents. There are so many people who have serious injuries, and we still talk about speed, and we still talk about breaking the law. We still talk about a lot of things. So I'm going to ask a couple of questions. When we say safety, or safety features in a car, we always say that nimbu mirchi to hai na. वो देख रहे हैं ना, वो हमें safe रखेंगे. We never talk about wearing seat belts or buying cars with airbags. Now, please raise your hand for how many people wear seat belts in the rear. That's quite good. That's really quite good. In the rear seat. In the rear seat, yeah? How many people have started wearing seat belts in the front seat after the rule has come? So everybody else was wearing front seats before the rule as well? Yeah? Okay. I'll show you a picture of this car. And everybody thinks that at 35, 40 kilometers per hour, nothing happens. This crash test, which happened in our laboratory, happened at 35 kilometers per hour. Yeah, so we always think about Indian roads as bumper traffic mein kahan accident hota, kahan chot lagti hai, right? But somebody can lose their life even at 15 kilometers per hour. So I would request everybody to be cognizant of this fact, and the fact that we are very vulnerable when we are on the road, and we don't know what speeds can do to us. I think, yeah, okay. So if a person weighs 67 kilos, at 35 kilometers per hour, the motion weight is 650 kilos. And you weigh an elephant at 75 kilometers per hour. How many of you knew this? Okay. So basically, if you're not strapped in the rear seat, you not only injure yourself, but you also injure the person sitting in the front seat. Imagine something banging at 1.4 tons weight. So it's very important when we talk about cool cars, when we talk about, India's started selling millions and millions of cars recently, but nobody's talking about road safety. There is a good law, but then the order needs to be taken care of. And part of the order is all of us. We should not break signals. We should not, that's the challenge. Because if you look at challenges, we always challenge ourselves to overtake the car. I am me. Men are back, I need to be ahead. No, please. It's just that particular moment, and it could be really, really not so good for yourself as well as your family. So I'm going to ask this question. How many of you think that infants up to 2 years should be placed in either of the rear seats? Please raise your hand. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, more? Okay. How many of you think the second position is the right answer? What about the others? Can anybody tell me? Yeah? How many of you think that the child should be seated in the front seat, rearward facing. I think fantastic. That's the challenge. They were before us and the bomb babes, and they have the right answer. That's the correct answer. The child should be in a child seat with ISOFIX, fixed to the front seat, rearward facing, and the airbag switch cut off. Have you ever sat in a car without wearing a seat belt and there's an airbag in front? Yeah? Has anybody faced that situation ever in their lives? Can anybody tell me what is the speed at which the airbag deploys? Come on, you guys. Yeah? Come on, 50 kilometers per hour, 20, 30, 150, 200 miles per hour. The airbag speeds, the speed at which an airbag deploys is 200 miles per hour. Now try and put your hand even at a piece of paper that comes to you at 200 miles per hour. It'll smash your hand. So it's very, very dangerous to sit in a front seat without strapping your seat belts, and the car has an airbag. But those are road signs, right? How many of us know what that means? Yes, sir, please. Perfect. How many of you knew that answer? Very few. How many of us drive cars or have been driven around in cars? All of us, almost. At least in the audience. So, please, ladies and gentlemen, when you look at road signs, we always say traffic situation is bad, but we never follow speed rules. We never follow road. We always say, India mein kya roads? All bumpy roads, and we always try to blame the authority. Just sit back and see what can you do. And it's very important from safety perspective that it is the onus starts or begins with you. We always try and honk when the signal turns green. We're very impatient as a race, as Indians. And it never happens in most other parts of the world. That's a lorry. This is very interesting. How many lorry drivers actually wear specs? How many of you have seen lorry drivers wearing specs? They all have 20/20 vision, right? Wrong. So all you young people there trying to become eye doctors, please bear this in mind when you become. Please do something about it. Because we as a company, we as a brand can just do only that much. When everybody is aware of it, that's when road safety becomes a much better proposition, that you're not trying to call your spouse or your family, or where are you, how safe are you, because that's a big worry in India. And I'll tell you something about the future. If you look at aeroplanes, that's really progressed. So the pilot actually works only the first 5 minutes and the last 3-4 minutes. The whole aircraft is otherwise flying on its own, right? So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the future of cars with a short film. But the people from the schools here, please bear that in mind. The future of automobile could be autonomous driving, cars that drive by themselves. Of course, that involves a lot of other things. So there are lots of things that we try and test, especially in the European market, not so relevant in India, but it could be also relevant in India. So if you look at slippery roads, that's one of the biggest cause for accidents in Europe, right? Suddenly, the tarmac has a sheet of ice, and then cars just go banging into each other, okay? So if a Volvo goes through that sheet of ice, the car records it, and there's a cloud service. It tells the cloud service that at such and such GPS point, there's slippery road. And the cloud service informs other cars that are following. So when you're looking at technology, start looking at technology from a safety perspective as well. We always look technology from a rocket science perspective, Try and look at things that could be informative, educative for others as well, okay? Can we have the film, please? This is actually going to be reality. In 2017, we'll be the first brand, and I'm not giving any sales spiel here, to put 100 cars on European roads to normal people, not test drivers, and those cars will drive automatically on their own. There are a lot of companies that have tied up with us, or we're tying up with, Ericsson being one of these Apple, Google, those kind of companies. And a lot of things, infrastructure needs to come into place for that. And if it can work in Europe, it can definitely work in India. We always have this habit of, yaar, Mahipalpur mein traffic to har ek time, I mean, we always have this habit of complaining. We never look at the brighter side of it. Hey, I can make that difference. I can make that change. So that's the future of automotive, technology and safety and autonomous driving. So all you children here in the school, all you young, really, really talented people, think about it. Maybe you can make a difference. You don't have to be specifically good in physics or chemistry. Even if you're good in common sense, I think it works. I think that's something which is definitely not common, the cliche. So basically, what does this number signify? Five people have already lost their lives since my presentation started. Yeah, in 15 minutes. I think we should just pause here and think about it. Please start Instagramming, texting, Twittering, Facebooking, whatever you want to. Please wear seatbelts and please wear helmets. I know it's a very basic thing. In such an audience, sometimes, basic things do be perceived as something very important. So please, if you're not wearing seat belts, as human beings, we don't like to be constrained. We want to be free. But in a moving car, in a moving automobile, even in a bus, if the bus has seat belts, please wear them. Okay? And then challenges won't be challenging anymore. Thank you.